like they say, Makuru Kweton, Azam, Nima, Ibidun. Good morning. How are you? And
Why
to
the-
our newspaper review family, I want to say good morning. Beautiful Wednesday, wrapping up the month of August. Then we move into the September, the Baba, which will be good for us. So good morning, good morning, good morning, and good day today.
All right, as you all know, our Daily News Review family, the Daily News Review is the program where we run through the national dailies and tackle the ones that catches our attention. So starting off from the Punch newspaper this morning, Atiku disowns aid, insists I will restore subsidy. Group 6 dissolution of APC Abia SWC over Kalu. In the Guardian, Obi Atiku challenged Tinubu on proxy campaigns and presidential debates. INEC TAF Africa others seek IDP's inclusion ahead of 2027 polls. In the this day, Umahi visits Benin Abo Asaba Road after commuters' grueling experiences. Also in the this day newspaper, Boje reaffirms APC membership, urges supporters to remain loyal. In the Daily Trust, in the Daily Trust, Atiku doubles down on restoring fuel subsidy. Tinubu tax LG chairman on inclusive governance and accountability. In the Vanguard, APC 2027, APC chairman Nentawe meets Emir Sanusi, seeks support for party. Also in the Vanguard, Ondo youth back Tinubu, support Tompolo's door-to-door mobilization. In the Premium Times, ICPC indicts budget office over inclusion of fake agency in 2026 budget. Gadzama obtains court leave to challenge 3-year suspension by LPDC. In the Nation, Kwara APC in last-ditch effort.
The woman on threads wrote on popular opinion.
Can you hear me now, Buki?
Yes, I can hear you now. You went off a bit. I can hear you now.
Okay. From the Nation, Kwara APC in last-ditch efforts to dulls internal crisis. Also in the Nation, palliative work begins on Adokaba, Benin Asaba roads. From the Cable, my position hasn't changed. Atiku insists he will restore targeted subsidy if elected president. Not while I'm governor. Alia rejects FG's plan to cede Benue land for ranching. In the Daily Post, terrorists exploiting social media remittance platforms to raise funds, Bukati says. Governor Kefa's pledges continued support for Nigerian army in Taraba. In the Tribune, Tani Olorun, please clarify viral video of Kwara officers' arrest mission in Ibadan. Also in the Tribune, 2027, INEC yet to get full funding 5 months to general elections. And finally, from the pen pushing this morning, please boss baby factory in Ogun State, rescue pregnant women, children. This happened in Mobi. Tinubu flags of reconstruction of Ibadan Jebu-Ode Road, approves Abeokuta Ibadan dualization. Good news. And that's it from the National Dailies this morning. You can do well to get yourself a copy, or better still, you stick with us as we run through the headlines. My name is Asani Imetula, and I have our analyst here, Okin. We are live on YouTube at WFM917, and you can listen to us on the go via our website at www.wfm917.com. The phone lines will be open shortly, but in the meantime, you can send your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, or your voice notes to 08155 917 917, 08155 917 917, or 7031 756 537, 07031 756 537. Okay. Let's start with this article from the Punch newspaper. Oh, from the Premium Times, where it says ICPC indicts budget office over inclusion of fake agency in 2026 budget. The anti-corruption agency found that the budget office admitted the purported presidential foreign intervention promotion council into the 2026 budget without carrying out due diligence. The ICPC has faulted the Budget Office of the Federation for including the purported PFIPC in the 2026 federal budget. According to the reports, the Budget Office processed and onboarded the purported council into the 2026 budget, despite gaps in its documentation and without independently verifying the legal instrument establishing it. The investigation found out that the BOF relied on an administrative code issued by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, an establishment-related document attributed to the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, without independently confirming their authenticity or establishing the Council's legal existence. The findings provide further insight into how the purported agency headed by Adeni penetrated government systems and secured recognition across several federal institutions. Premium Times had earlier reported that Mr. Adeyemi, who presented himself as the Director General of the PFIPC, secured an office at the Federal Secretariat in Abuja and obtained government correspondence relating to the agency. The presidency has maintained that the PFIPC was not created by the Bola Tinubu administration and that Mr. Adeyemi was never appointed to head it. Mr. Adeyemi is facing an 8-count criminal charge bordering on forgery and impersonation. He has denied the allegations. For backstory on how the PFIPC entered the budget, the Budget Office is responsible for preparing and coordinating the annual federal budget based on submissions from ministries, departments, and agencies. The ICPC investigation found that onboarding a new government agency into the national budget requires an administrative or accounting code from the OHGF, as well as an authorized establishment and recruitment waiver from the OHCSF. On 29 November 2024, the Budget Office received a letter from the OHGF conveying administrative code for the purported agency. However, the investigation found that the Budget Office did not receive direct official communication from the Office of the Head of the Civil Service, transmitting the authorized establishment and recruitment waiver for the purported council. So, Bookie, we have seen a lot of story about this fake agency scandal. At some point, Adeni indicted the chief of staff, but they said, oh no, the presidency came out to say, oh no, he is free of whatever blames. Then after some time, different developments, they arrested his parents, he was tried in court, he came out to say, oh, I'm just being used as a scapegoat, I didn't do it, I'm the fall guy. Then the head of civil service came out to say there was a mistake, and we've been asking, how did this man get an office in the federal secretariat, second tier office? He had over 300 people as a staff and they were on the payroll. Now we ask the question, how did they get into Nigeria's budget? How come they were able to open accounts? He opened domiciliary accounts. He had, should I say he? Well, maybe because now they're saying the agency is his own. It was never in Nigeria's budget. Or he opened a pound account, basically foreign account. But now they've come out to say, okay, we shouldn't have been included in the budget. And that was the question we were asking before. Now they are saying the Budget Office didn't do due diligence to find out how exactly he got here. What do you have to say, Buki? Hi, Buki. Yes, Buki, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, thank you very much. I realized that the network I was, your voice, the voice from the station was breaking, so I had to quickly, as we do now, back up. Well, I'm happy that you had me. This is an interesting conversation, honestly, really, really interesting conversation. At some point, I wasn't. I just got lost in all the conversations of Adeyemi, now you are now bringing it back again, and it's like, okay, where
Actually, that was why
exactly?
I took it from the top because I
Exactly.
because Fumi has said she's tired of it.
I honestly, but you see, it's a conversation we must have,
Mm-hmm.
and people need to know that this is a total systemic failure.
Hmm.
If if we don't have cracks in the wall, a lizard will not penetrate. You
True.
understand? It's because we have cracks. Yes, handling Adeyemi, I understand he's facing an 8 count charge, whatever. That is his own. Let's face Nigeria.
Mm.
Let's face the issue of Nigeria. Something is wrong with us. You know, like
Yes.
you mentioned, how did a non-existent government agency pass through all the Nigerian administrative machinery?
Mm.
He obtained official recognition. He operated from the government premises. He even interacted with government institutions, and they were taking pictures.
Mm.
I'm sure they must have been exchanging cards, even though now most people do not really exchange cards. But he must have introduced himself in functions
Yes.
and eventually entered the national budget. Like I said, he's facing an 8 count charge of forged appointment letter, forged presidential letterhead, representing himself firstly as the DG, forged request for office accommodation, forged government-related correspondence, and of course, use those documents to get legitimacy to the organization. But for me, we need to look at it. How, even if Adeyemi forged the documents,
Mm-hmm.
how did the government institution, how come they accepted it? So
Mm.
that was a crack. And that is what ICPC found out. ICPC is saying that there is an institutional weakness in all the several government bodies, because I believe there are guardrails, there are approval systems, even in normal organizations. You want to do that. There are controls everywhere. Not to talk of the highest body that we are looking at. And then this is talking about the budget office. And it's in the document that we are reviewing that they missed out a lot of issues. Possibly they overlooked, their protocol and favor relationship, because people who want to do things like this, they are very, very high in social interactions, they're always in your space, and they have gotten into you that at times it's not that deliberately you look the other way around, but something just comes over you that you ignore, you do not do your due diligence. Is Adeyemi, oh yeah, and and that goes. The question is, they did not do their due diligence. The office of the secretary to the government, the office of the head of the civil service, the office of the accountant general, the budget office. Maybe we should even put NITAD there, NITDA. You understand? Because all these agencies, somewhere along the line, they're supposed to have procedure to verify. But when the verification procedure is weak, anybody can penetrate. Adeyemi penetrated. Who knows who is also penetrating now? But however, thankfully, at some point, this thing is coming up. We do not know the nitty-gritty of what made it to come up, because what you are saying is different from what is underneath. But that is not even the issue today. The issue is, hey, there is a systemic governance failure. Now, we are criticizing the budget office. Yes, by procedure, from what we have read, the budget office is supposed to look at the legal instrument creating the agency, verify. I understand they got a code. They got a code, from the Accountant General's office.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not think they verified that. Then the legal instrument creating the agency, because this is new, it's coming in fresh.
Yes.
So I want to believe that for new agencies, there must be a protocol, there must be documentations to say that before you pass the budget before you pass their own budget into it, all these things, like a checklist, you must do that. I think I'm coming from that angle based on what I've read, that they did not do that. They did not check the legality of it, right? And then, of course, maybe in terms of authority, the superior authority of it, they did not check it, right? Where is the presidential approval concerning this agency? They did not check that, right? And then, of course, they also relied, in fact, that one shocked me. They also relied on a scanned establishment document. That means that in their protocol, you are not supposed to take a scanned one, because if ICPC found out that they relied on, because I'm using their word, they relied on a scanned establishment document. Possibly it's supposed to be the hard copy, not scanned. It depends on your establishment. So all these things showed that there were weak control areas. And then, of course, then the budget office now went ahead to create numbers. In fact, that for me was an alarming. Then why are you doing someone else's job? He's supposed to submit the budget, in terms of his figures. Yes, he gave you a bulk amount, and then based on what we read, he did not break it down into the line items. And then you now used your discretion based on the fact that you know what it obtains, particularly for the salaries. That, okay, they're supposed to earn this, they're supposed to earn this, they're supposed to earn this. I think he submitted about 3.6, is it trillion or billion or whatever it is now, And then, of course, you now computed it and came up to the 1.3, is it trillion or billion that we're even looking at? I've forgotten what, maybe it's billion or trillion, but they came up with 1.3, you understand? So that means that you were doing somebody else's job. Why? Why did you develop figures based on the proposed personnel structure? You are now comparing other agencies. You are saying, okay, because it's new, okay, you should have this. You should have asked, and then you now verify. So that means he was also using government budgetary machinery, because they were the ones that constructed a budget for the organization. I think that was wrong, and that tells me something. It's possible they have been doing it for other agencies, and they didn't see anything wrong in it. If they investigate properly, it has become a culture. Possibly some agencies or ministry would just come and say, hey, we have this figure, this is the figure we want to use, so yeah, please help us. Things happen like that. And should that be? So it's a budget control problem. They are not supposed to create the budget. When you submit the budget, because they are the budget, they're supposed to go through it, check things, verify things, compute it, ensure that, okay, it makes sense. But when you are the judge and the jury, voila, you understand? So in wrapping up this, there are 5 critical failures, that the government, Nigeria, needs to learn, right? Identity failure, which we have done, authority failure, then of course verification, everybody was just, maybe he's a jolly good fellow, that anywhere he enters, it brings the so-called sunlight that they say, and because of that, you could not use your faculty to reason and look at protocols, right? Because there are some people that are very good in that you just assume that it's okay because you are seeing him around personnel, you are seeing around government personnel rather, you are seeing him from the office of the all kinds of things that are happening. So this man is fake. I'm sure some people are now saying, so this man is fake, right? And then of course with another thing that I saw, oversight failure. The agencies, they did not do their oversight function properly. Aside from the fact that the overaching thing that we're talking about is a systemic failure. Like I asked Unima, how far are we sure that another one is not brewing? How far are we sure that some things are not wrong, even in the budgeting that we're talking about?
Oh, there are actually other agencies. The ICPC has been uncovering so many things. Just some weeks ago, we saw there were other fake agencies too, and even they were included in the national budget. But this Adeyemi zone is the one that is making most strong, maybe because of the caliber of, you understand, the how do I put it? Because of the weight, Sha. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, it is because the okay, it's the fact that a 1.3 billion was budgeted for. Should we even spare the National Assembly? I remember that now.
I don't know.
We are not even supposed to spare them because they sat over it. I also want to believe that if they have not been doing it, I believe that they will now do a continuous improvement process, right? Even if they now have to say, okay, before we sit over these things, budget and this thing, you must stamp everything. We must see that you have stamped it so that if anything happens, you will not come back and tell us that, but we sat on it. So it becomes a documented thing that once I get this, then I know it is foolproof. I mean, there is no error. You understand? Because they also sat on it. And I want to believe that they are also supposed to have some instruments or some things, there are committees that actually look at it, before they bring these things to the bear. So everybody was just jolly friend along the whole along the whole issue. So we need to bring the National Assembly into this. Well, we want to thank the Independent Corrupt Practices, for doing a good job. And I hope this will not just be, this man fell out of favor and we want to expose him, but they should use this to brush through the whole system and tighten it. If they have to send all the officers to training, to reorientation, look at all the processes, then it's better. Because there are some offices you go to that everything is still manual. I can tell you for free. Some of the processes are not yet automated. Some is still manual. And that is prone to fraud because when human beings are handling sensitive things, there is a possibility of you removing a document and sliding in a document, even when they begin to number, they number from the back, up. the number from the back to the up, they can always remove and put something else and use that same number. But bottom line is that they need to look at the system, a total overhaul of the system, to see where were the gaps and close up the gaps.
All right, we are live on YouTube at WFM 917, and you can listen to us on the go via our website at www.wfm917.com. The phone lines are now open. You can call us on 07000 917 917, 07000 917 917, or 09155 917 917, 09155 917 917, or 0800 1235 917. You can send a text message, a WhatsApp message, or a voice note to 07031 756 537, 07031 756 537, or 08155 917 917, 08155 917 917. Our daily news review family, please call us now. You are valued. We appreciate your engagement. But let's try to be calling during the program. See, yesterday I was getting so many calls and I was so pained because it was at the end of the program. I
Wow,
couldn't
wow.
pick I couldn't pick your calls. We had run out of time, 8:30 a.m. So call us now. We want to hear your voices. We want to hear your thoughts. We are doing this thing with you. But in the meantime, let me take a message. Subsidy removal or restoration is not the bane or solution to Nigeria's problem. What Nigerians want is good governance, equity, fairness, and justice for a better Nigeria. May God help us. Olusoga Ajayi from Udonla, Ikorodu. Okay, so I'm going to take a voice note now.
Another mass adoption in Niger State. When is this going to end? Good morning to you in the studio. Additional was is my name. I'm calling from Ikorodu. Another mass adoption in Niger State. When is this going to end? That is why I always clamoring for quick restructuring of this country. And the National Assembly and Presidency should fast track this issue of state police. Can you imagine close to 500 people has been adopted in Niger State, taken to the bush? This is unfortunate. Who did we offend in this country? Is this how we are going to continue? I think, Mr. President, we need urgent solution on this insecurity because nobody is safe. Or is it until each and every one of us is adopted or killed? Because I can't understand what are they doing in this state police. Let each state have their police and possibly local government police also. Because without security, there's nothing we are going to achieve in this country. We need to do the right thing at the right time. These are human beings taken to the bush. Some women will be raped. Some will be killed. Some, because of the environment they are taking them to, I don't just understand how these people are going to survive in this inside this bush with this heavy rain. God Almighty, come to the rescue of Nigeria. And for this 2027 campaign, I don't just understand how some people are crying foul because of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. What concern Agbero with overload? If it is today, constitutes too many people that you think, in your own opinion, are not right to be there, that is an excuse for you to even vote another party. Because everything they will criticize, well, it's good to be criticized, but I think they should criticize objectively. If their party, not your, and if you listen to many people that do this complaint, I must be honest to you, these are the people that do not even like this present government. So anything they do, they will complain. And my advice to former vice president, you need to explain to Nigeria first, as he privatized Alajasi Road in Kogi State and Ajakuta, why is this company did not work single day since then up to today? And if you remember, in his former boss under wash, my OBJ former Atiku Abubakar former boss, Olusegun Obasanjo, in his book published titled Under My Watch, he vigorously criticized Atiku and said Atiku is the most corrupt. And as I'm talking to you today, Atiku has never gone to court to challenge that decision. Because even the children that they are not yet born, we also read this book. So if Atiku may know that it's serious, I think you need to first challenge Olusegun Obasanjo in the court. Because in that book, he called him all sorts of names. But instead, Atiku to Father Kuka, former Governor Ilola and the rest of Sigo and beg Baba. It is unfortunate. And I hope you listen to former head of state, Salam Abubakar, who said Atiku, who claimed that he's 80 years now, and Atiku Abubakar is a year older than him. That you need to soft-landed, you need to caution himself on this presidency contest. He has been contesting for more than 3 decades now. Although it is his right, but I believe he should mentor the young ones who will take over from this their professional job, which is politics. God Almighty will save Nigeria. I hope our president will do the right thing and restructure this country. Let South control their oil. Other regions get their own resources. Let South control their oil and other regions will look inward. Restructure this country in the region now. Let region take care of themselves by policing themselves, by making they utilize their resources themselves and send token to central government. Good morning, additional Wasil is my name. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
All right, thank you, additional Wasil and Ajayi Olusoja, for your message and voice note. I'm still expecting our other family members to call, send their voice messages or text messages. Anyway, you'd have it. Anyway, Bookie, we were talking about.
I mean, yeah, talking about this Niger thing, it was even yesterday that it just dawned on me, and I said, really, we don't yet know the figures, but what was hitting me, even now, as he mentioned it again, was the fact that they really took their time. I want to believe that they really took their time. They attacked the communities. It's not even just one community. And then they now moved into the mosque. That's for me, is like, okay, what exactly is happening? More often than not, it's church, Christian linked communities, now it's mosque. And I'm wondering that, okay, what is the narrative around this? What is happening? We do not know, and then they surrounded the worshippers and then they adopted them doing prayers. The same thing,
Bookie, we have
as
a
the
call.
Chibok and all that, move them into the bush. Well, I believe we'll hear more information, concerning that. But this is, should I say it's frightening? Absolutely, yes.
Hello,
It
good
calls for
morning.
a concern because Niger State.
Good morning. What are you doing?
Good morning. Sorry, Bookie, we have a call. Yes, good morning, Evangelist Dixon. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, my name. God bless you. I appreciate you. I've been listening to you, and my best analyst, Bookie. I know why I say you are my best analyst. But anytime it is your turn, and I always see that I to listen to, and I quite agree with you. 110%. Let me appreciate also the question of what you sometimes I listen to his comments. Also, I love the way he comments as well as this. Madam Fumi Buki Ajala. You see, this is the Nigerian problem. It's a total systemic failure. Sometimes some people will come out and blaming police. Which institution is not corrupt in Nigeria? Some people that do drive, I ask you, if police arrest you or last man arrest you, which one do you prefer? Some say police. Because when the last man arrest you, they start negotiating from 20 or 50,000. I know we come out, which institution in Nigeria? Even some of us in our places of work, go around and check. Even a domestic place, go and say you want to buy gas or gas. Some of them will see that. Not all. Some of them, what they are saying, they are not saying, I'm you look at me, it's in fake. It's some of them, even these food, they are using chemical to ripe it. Look at that trend now. Like I said, some landlords and ladies that had a fear of God, very few of them, that in my area, so 2 bedrooms could be for 3.5 million. So there are some landlords that had a fear that is less than $1 million. Less than $1 million. What is watching us calling? We should learn to do whatever. What you are giving us that for? We should remember that if you do a prayer, you cannot get away from God. God is watching. You need to have the prayer of that better Nigeria will depend on all of us. Look at this fake agency again. More heads you roll. How did this man get through? We still have more. Thank God this administration that are bringing all this. We still have more. This is the code of things. Not it has become normal in this not anymore. And without the cooperation, it's not going to work. We cannot be sending our children as police over there for them to be. Why these people are living within them? You see, look at that. Making of this on this insecurity. You see, making noise. That's when another business. You are busy campaign. Look at how much mass adoption. Look at people that are dying on this. You see that this thing is not supposed to be at the head of the. That's why this state police. So there are any state governor that says with the state of emergency. You see, here's the thing. Look at our road now. I don't know the person that said they contracted that day. Some people should be impeached, even some of our party leaders. If you are traveling, I said it before, if you're traveling from here now to the east, when you get to a day delta, you're on your own. Every time you pass that place, hallelujah. But after that, from it to Imo and those places are this Udo delta, get trapped. And that would have been awarded to certain because that contractor should be in jail. If you have no accountability, even some of the English command they are getting, what are they using it for, to campaign or what? As you're holding President Tinubu accountable, the governor, the president of the money saved in petroleum, that we need to be transport to hold them accountable. Everybody should be held accountable. All of us in our little place, we should be held accountable. If you don't get away, you can't get away from God. Nigeria was not like this. And some of that have advanced. You know that Nigeria was not like this. Then we don't have as many churches as we have. And some of these religions were sponsoring these terrorists. You know, before, remember they said, I thank God Buhari there with that man. And there are so many of them to be in the name of religion, that religion, to be taken, which is not, which is not accountable. Nigeria, let us hold our leaders accountable. And we also must be accountable. Learn to do what is right. Nigeria will be great again. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you, Madam.
All right, Buki, you were talking about the response.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for always showing up for me, and I want to believe for other analysts as well. Thank you, sir. Yes, I mean, just to support the angle where you came from, though it went round all the topics, but
yes.
let me join it with what I was talking, which has to do with this kidnap, and it's alarming personally for me, because look at the system. They enter communities, they attacked vulnerable people on Friday in the mosque, and that is something. It's not really new. It's not that they have not been attacking mosques, but of this magnitude, and then they now move them into the forest, and of course, if you look at this state, Niger State, it's very close to Niger. Is it Niger or what's the state that this whatever Benin Republic, very close to Benin Republic, because we understand that some people, when that thing happened, flee. So we also have to now begin to have good intelligence and surveillance monitoring, with Benin. I know over time they've tried to do this, but I think they need to begin to strengthen, this corridor properly. I know we talk about a lot of the porous borders, around Nigeria and all that. These are the things that government should actually do. We don't want this. We don't want to hear this again. Honestly, I just pray that they move swiftly, and recover everybody that they need to recover. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Buki. The time is 11 minutes past 8, and you've been listening to the voices of our analyst, Olubukola Femi Ajala, and myself, Hassan Matulai Bidun. I called myself the way Buki called me. On the Daily News Review, we were speaking about the ICPC indicting the budget office in the issue of the fake agency scandal, the PFIPC. Oh yes, I got it today. And then anyway, moving on. Okay, still on this fake agency scandal. At the beginning of the whole palaver, Adeni mentioned that Agbadabi Amila, who is the chief of staff to the president, was a party in this fake agency brouhaha. But now the ICPC has come out to say there is no evidence linking Gbadabi Amila to the appointment of Adeni as Director General of the PFIPC, a fake federal agency. The commission said its investigation found that Mr. Adeyemi personally forged an appointment letter dated March 24th, March 2024 on a fake State House letterhead and attributed the signature on the document to Mr. Gbadabi Amila. Investigation also found no evidence that Mr. Adeyemi was appointed by the Chief of Staff or had any direct engagement with him. According to the ICPC, no evidence linking Mr. Gbadabi Amila to Mr. Adeni or anyone acting on behalf of the purported council. The findings provide fresh details about the scandal involving Mr. Adeyemi, who presented himself as the head of an agency that had no legal basis, but was able to secure office space, government recognition, and CBN accounts. My question to you, Buki, is generally I say what say you, but I have a question now. As far as they said, Adeyemi did everything on his own. We asked about the SGF, we didn't get a response. We asked about the head of civil service. We didn't get a response. We asked about the budget office. We didn't get a response. We asked about the account he opened. No response. But after some time, the head of civil service came to say, oh, there was an institutional gap. There was a mistake somewhere. No problem. Now the budget office has come out. Now ICPC has come out to indict the budget office. And now they have come out to say Gbadabi Amila has no hand in it after a very long time. We've been on this issue for about 2 months now, but bit by bit, they are coming out to give response to the people. This person didn't know, that person didn't know. The reason why I'm saying this is very funny. The reason why I'm saying this was when we asked that what of the budget office in call, they're like, budget office on Conshe. Now they have come out to say budget office has something to do with it. Now then the presidency came out immediately, but Gbadabi Amila has nothing to do with it. Brings me to this question. How would the chief of staff to the president know nothing about this purported fake agency?
Okay. These are my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
He might know, or he might know and he might not want to know. I don't know if I don't know if I'm confusing you.
No. Let me see if I'm right. Now, I know Buki is a woman, yes, but might not want to know. I'm like, she might be a woman, but don't bother me.
Exactly.
I don't want to confirm she's a woman.
Exactly. Because if going by what is in the constitution or what I know about coming up with a new agency, it can be created in 3 ways. One, it can be created, by the constitution. So those are the agencies that exist, in our constitution, or they are created by the constitution, like the Federal Character Commission, police, blah blah blah, INEC and all that. Then it can also be created by the Act of the National Assembly. Right. It can also be that. And then I think the third one is by executive and administrative establishment. But it does not mean that even if they get a fake letter, they should still subject that fake letter, you understand, to the right system of verifying. And why I said you may know, or you may know and you might not want to know. Shebi is the chief of staff. Everything that is around the president and all that, he's supposed to know, isn't it? He's supposed to know. So
yes,
it's possible, if I'm looking at it from the angle of maybe because of my business mind and things like that, that a letter comes, there are copies that should have been distributed, even if a letter comes from, the presidency. And I think the person located himself with this third option. You understand that it comes from there. I want to believe that the files will have been opened. There must have been engagement. A problem, in fact, what am I even saying? A problem must have been identified to say, okay, this problem, we want to solve it. How do we solve it? Do we have an existing ministry or department or agency, around it that we can domicile this portfolio to? Oh, we do not have. Okay, that means we don't have. Okay, can we create one? So it's a lot of conversations that must have been going on. And it's even possible that conversations have been going on. And this Adeyemi guy already has, information about it, because he can't just wake up one night and say, this is it. There must have been conversations around these. Memos must have been moving in and out and blah, blah, blah. But there was no final thing. And it's even possible that there was a document that got to the final stage, but it did not pass that stage. And someone decided, because he has seen the gaps, to say, what, give me that file, give me that document. I will do with it. You understand? Because it passed through all these systems, so they must have seen some similarities or some things that they are supposed to see. And that is why I am saying verification is an issue here. How can we automate these processes and ensure that even the automation does not have cracks? You understand? And then while we are holding, even our dear man, Mr. Badamiel, hold that he could actually go back. I want to believe that there were documents, memos, conversations, engagements, and things like that. That, okay, for this office, where should I have stopped? I mean, or a gap that is there, even if it's not ICPC did not bring him into the matter and they have freed him or whatever it is, right? He also can actually do that from his own office now to say, okay, something must have happened. How come this happened? Like you mentioned, there's another agency, something about brand and made in Nigeria or something like that, Let them trace it, because there had been always engagement and all that. And if there is a gap, then this is the time to tighten it, that, okay, if it comes from the executive power corridor and all that, this and this and this and this, let them tighten it again, to be sure that even the Alangba that wants to enter the team, in fact, that everybody will know. And then, of course, it's also an issue of, he was also having an office in the complex. So they must have been seeing it. So does that mean everybody is blind? You understand?
I'm so sorry to cut you short. We have another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Ima.
Good morning, Mark.
Yeah.
I was speaking specifically to you when I said you should please try to call us early so we'd have a robust discussion. Please, in 3 minutes, because we have run out of time.
I'm sorry, Nima.
No,
I
it's
got
fine.
to the office. I'll try and do that.
Thank you.
I'll try and be calling earlier.
Thank you.
Because of my office work and all that.
No, you're a valued member. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nima. Buki, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for your work. And now, my greetings to Fumi also. Yeah, Nima, I feel like because of the limitation of time, right, we'll be able to revisit this topic about Adeyemi and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, but briefly, let me just put this up straight. Buki, you've said a very, 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 honest opinion, and I appreciate that. Good job about that. But I want you to understand something. That is a man called Adeyemi. Do you know he has an history of fraud with the United Nations? Are you aware?
Yes, I read it somewhere. I read it somewhere.
Yeah, very good. First and foremost, officially, we have 1,300 MDAs, very large number, 1,300. So it's a bit strenuous for president to streamline. That is one. Two, about this Adeyemi of the guy. In 2013, he declared himself as Nigerian ambassador to the United Nations. Meanwhile, at that time, President Goodluck Jonathan was the president. He never appointed him as UN ambassador. We had an official UN ambassador that was recognized by the president. But this man called Adeyemi self-appointed himself as Nigerian UN ambassador. That was in 2013. In 2016, this same man declared himself as the Director General of World Youth Organization and affiliated agencies to the United Nations. Now the question is this. Why he was parading himself as the President General of that youth organization? He was running an office. Who approved the office for him? He was using the paraphernalia of office, the personal effect of office. He even had a website asking people to come and register that he was going to organize World Economic Summit, and he was charging participants $600 on his website. Having been exposed, UN came out, and International Youth Organization, which is officially the youth wing of the United Nations, they came out to debunk him. They came out to say, we don't know this guy. This guy is a fraud. Meanwhile, this guy was running an office in the name of the United Nations. The question is, who approved office for him? Can we say that the President General that he called himself was approved by the United Nations? So who are we going to point a finger to and say, oh, you collude with this man at the United Nations to approve his office, to approve his staff, because he went to India, New Delhi, India, to conduct an election, all in the name of the United Nations. Until the United Nations came out officially, publicly, to debunk this guy, to call him a fraud, that they never knew him. Never. Everything about him was never approved by the United Nations. That was what he did at the level of the United Nations. Then he came back to Nigeria to replicate the same fraudulent activities. And when it happened in 2025, the whistleblower was Femi Gbajabiamila. When agencies like the National Promotion Investment Council, when they wrote a letter to Femi Gbajabiamila asking if he knew anything about this agency that this man was parading, he said he knew nothing. So immediately, Femi Gbajabiamila wrote a letter to all the security agencies, the DSS, he wrote a letter to the IG, he wrote a letter to the Office of the National Advisor, National Security Advisor, and at the end of the day, he sued this man to the Federal High Court in Abuja. It was in 2025. Listen, the office of the chief staff does not offer appointment letter. The approved office, official office that gives appointment letter to any employee of the government is the office of the Secretary of the Federation. Meanwhile, Adeyemi was claiming that it was the chief of staff that offers him the letter. How possible can that be? I think we will revisit this topic and then we will talk more about it. But for the sake of limitation of time, I'll try to rest my case here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark, for calling.
Yeah, a very good perspective. You know, a strong one at that. Yeah, because you see, there are many dimensions to these things, And you know, I mentioned verification.
Yes.
In the advanced world, they have strong institutions. We are weak. And that's why he was able to come in here, that it took a long time for the whistle, the nyash to open up. But over there, probably he felt he could go through it and nobody will find him out. But immediately, UN said, we don't know this guy, right? And I would believe that when that was flagged, it should be in the red books of our own nation. And the watchdogs are supposed to be watching him. That immediately the name came up. And it's because we do not automate, our systems. Except if it's tampered with. Why I will not actually spare the chief of staff somewhere. I totally agree with what Mark has said. It is not his job, to get a letter of appointment. I know, but I'm only looking at it from the angle of the processes that must have happened. I believe there must have been a discussion. There must have been, engagements, because that is the essence of creating, an agency. If it's not by constitution, if it's not by the act of parliament, the Senate and all that, legislative bill and all that, there must have been something that triggered this, and that's why I'm just calling for a review. I'm just calling for a review, and because he mentioned his name, and anybody can actually mention anybody's name. You understand? Maybe there was a discussion that they had, or maybe I don't know, because they saw him everywhere with dignitaries and all that. He had that clout, he had that propensity. He had that knack in him to do this. So who is foiling it? Yes, we leave it to the ICPC, and if Benjamin has been cleared, of course, there's nothing we can do about that. But I'm only calling for a review of everything. Can we adopt a continuous improvement method? Look at all our systems, look at all the gaps. Where are we weak? Can we strengthen them? How can we embrace technology into what we're doing, that the system also would be foolproof? You understand that error, they are not supposed to come in and find a way of cracking it down, or bringing in a virus or tampering with data, highly secured infrastructure that even a Nigerian can go on that. I'm not too sure. When that thing happened, I went online, to find out, okay, where are the registered, blah, 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 blah. I saw a list, but is that all? Is that all? Can they do more and show us more? That from this list, this was when it was enacted, and blah blah blah. Show us the processes, so that even when somebody wants to confirm, when you quickly confirm, papa, it will tell you, oh, red alert. Be aware of that. Those are the kinds of things that I want to begin to see with all these bubbles that are coming up now. Thank you.
All right, we've even exceeded our time. Thank you for listening to us today on the Daily News Review. My name is Hassane Metla from WEAT's Women Radio WFM 1.7. It's a good morning. Have a blessed day. Up next,
Thank you.
the news at 9.